Okay, namaste everyone and welcome to this webinar on how does yoga work. To go into the crux of the matter, we first have to see what is yoga. What does the very word yoga mean in terms of etymological definition? Because the word yoga has been defined in many, many ways by many different people. Some of the greatest of the yogis who wrote the ancient texts of yoga wrote what yoga is according to them. And then in the modern days, different people in yoga, different teachers of yoga, different students of yoga, different schools of yoga, they all kind of define yoga one way or another. And those definitions are kind of a little bit similar, a little bit different. Some of them point to something quite correct. Some of them actually have lost the point completely. So let's look a little bit. Patanjali in his Yoga Sutras, he defines yoga like this. He says, yoga is the arresting of the movements or the modifications of the mind. He doesn't say yoga is about doing any stretching, any breathing, though there are practices in yoga in which you do use your body in terms of assuming certain positions, sitting positions, standing positions, bending forward, arching backwards, bending laterally, twisting positions, which are called the asanas in yoga. In yoga, in hatha yoga, you also have those methods of breathing technology, which are commonly called pranayama. But yoga has much more than asanas and pranayama. Yoga is much more than asanas and pranayama. And Patanjali says it so clearly. Yoga ultimately is the arresting, the stopping of all the movements of the mind. The mind is moving, constantly moving. The mind is agitated, past, future, past, future. And yoga is bringing the mind to stillness. And this definition of Patanjali has been hailed as one of the most foremost, one of the most clear, practical definitions given to yoga. Others in India, they say yoga is one of the 6 traditional darshanas of the Indian spirituality. Some people say yoga is a system of healing. Some people say yoga is a lifestyle. So what is yoga really and what is not yoga? So let's go back to the very definition of it itself. And I'm going to make a screen share here. So you have some slides. Good. So as you see here in the slide, the word yoga from Sanskrit. In Sanskrit, it's not yoga, it's yuj. And the word yuj means union, to bring together, like a fusion, like an attuning. This bringing together of one and the other is called yoga. And therefore, whatever other definitions of yoga have been given, they may be, they may not be. But the very word itself means union. And therefore, all yoga, every form of yoga, there is hatha yoga, there is laya yoga, there is bhakti yoga, the yoga of devotion, there is the karma yoga system, the kriya yoga system, there's the nidra yoga, the yoga of lucid dreaming, astral projection, and conscious sleep. There is the Raja Yoga of Patanjali. There's the Kashmiri Shaivism yoga. There's the Tantric yoga, like sexual yoga. So there's so many different forms and paths in yoga. And yet all of them have the same goal, and they all have the same, ultimately they have the same accomplishment. And that is to bring about a state of unification, a state of union. Yoga means union. The question then would be, if the word yoga means union, then what is getting in union with what? Or who is becoming in union with what? Or who is becoming in union with who? Now, one part of this puzzle is obvious, because if I am making yoga, or if you are making yoga, then it's clear. One end of that is me or you, the one who does the yoga practice. That's one part of it. But then if I'm making yoga, the word yoga means union. Then let's say I'm making some asana, the mountain pose, the triangle pose, something. When I do an asana or even a pranayama, the goal of that method is to create a state of union. The question is, what am I getting in union with when I make this asana, or when I make that asana, or when I twist and make this asana, or this? Here is something which is a forgotten secret about yoga, because everything that you have in the yoga in terms of its practice, everything has a certain destination and everything has a goal. It's not random. And the goal is not only stretching, especially when you think about asanas. Today, some things have been forgotten, and the asanas, for example, have been relegated to mere stretching, flexibility, and alignment, which is all fine. But the word yoga does not mean flexibility. The word yoga does not mean alignment. The word yoga doesn't mean stretching. The word yoga means union. And therefore, when one does an asana, seated, standing, bending, twisting, whichever asana, or when one does a pranayama, a mudra, a bandha, whatever yoga method that might be, maybe even some of the more sophisticated, subtle methods like using mantras or visualizing or staring upon those geometrical figures in yoga, which are called yantras. Whatever be the method one uses, every single one of those methods has the quality of putting you in union with something. What is that? This is what we're going to look at today. How does yoga actually work? How does the union happen? Union with what? And how is it achieved? Because yoga is much more than stretching, flexibility, and alignment. It's about getting in union with certain energies of the universe. Better said, it's about getting the human being attunes to those beneficial energies of the universe and downloads those energies into their own being. Downloads that energy into their aura, which then a part of that energy will infiltrate towards the body in terms of health, vitality, energy. And a part of that energy will infiltrate towards the mind, towards the emotions and mind and consciousness, thus cultivating a more benevolent mind, a positive mind, optimistic, pure, a mind which has faith instead of doubt, a mind that has hope instead of fears, and so on. So let's see now how this actually goes. So the definition of yoga is union. Now there are two basic principles that govern how yoga works. These two principles are called by the names translated to English. They're called the principle of correspondence and the principle of resonance. I'm going to explain these two for you in this webinar. The principle of correspondence says here we have it in this slide, the principle of the law of correspondence. It says that whatever you have in this universe has its correspondence in the human being, and whatever you have in the human being has its corresponding aspect in the universe. Therefore, it's called the law of correspondence. By the way, these two principles, this principle of correspondence and the one next called the principle of resonance, these are cosmic principles. They are non-negotiable. They don't belong to the yogis of India exclusively. These are forces and laws of the universe which apply globally to everyone. It doesn't matter which part of the planet, which time in history, which spiritual direction. It doesn't. Like gravity is an energy in our, for us at least on planet Earth, we have our own gravity, and gravity exists as an energy in the universe. Even the moon has its own gravity, not like Earth, but there's gravity in the moon. There's gravity at Pluto, even the sun has a gravity. So gravity is an energy everywhere in the universe, and the different celestial bodies, they display certain qualities of the cosmic principle or cosmic force called gravity. And coming back to us as people of Earth, the gravity of our planet behaves exactly the same, whether you're a Jew or you're a Muslim, whether you're a Christian or you're a Hindu, whether you're an atheist or you believe deeply in God. Gravity is exactly gravity, and gravity behaves the same for everyone, right? Fire behaves the same for everyone. You burn a fire in the house of a Christian, it behaves the same as you burn it in the house of a Jew, even if those two may not like each other, right? Exactly like this, you have energies, forces, and those energies and forces, when studied, you see they function a certain way, and then the mystics, they configured and they say, this is the law of karma, this is the law of correspondence, this is the law of resonance, but it belongs universal. It's everywhere. The law of correspondence and resonance don't just belong for us as earthlings. It is cosmic, universal principles. And therefore, the gurus of different spiritualities stumbled upon the same thing. The tantric yogis of India caught it in their mystical insight. The Taoist, Lao Tzu, Zhang Tzu, and the others, the great Taoist masters, realized the same thing. The Sufis got the same thing. The great Kabbalists got the same thing, because it's universal. Now, in this figure over here, you see two egg shapes, one big, one small, and they have been subdivided in 7 levels, and I'll explain. And one is called, the bigger one is called the macrocosm, and the smaller one is called the microcosm. And with the background of, like, a huge nebula, like, just to give you a sense of cosmic expansion. The law of correspondence says, as above, so below. As below, so above. The tantric yogis have represented symbolically the universe in the shape of an egg, as you see, and they have noticed that this entire universe is made up of 7 planes, going from the most gross, that would be the plane number 1, represented symbolically here, going all the way to the plane number 7, which would be the most subtle. Each of these planes has its names, has its characteristics, and one of the goals of yoga is to alert your consciousness and refine your consciousness, that you may be able to perceive and control the energies and aspects on the subtle planes. By the way, just to give you a quick run through of this here, the plane number 1 is the physical plane, this one in which we live, the physical universe, with all those stars, all those galaxies, huge suns and planets, and this vast universe, which when they take telescope and they look through it, and it's like never ending. You can take a shuttle and go at warp speed through it, and you spend your whole life going and never ends. This gigantic universe is just plane number 1. It's the physical manifestation from your physical atom going all the way to the entire physical universe. That's just 1/7 of the universe. It's the most gross aspect of the universe, which you can perceive to some extent with your senses. But beyond that, you have 6 other planes, which usually are unseen by the eye. This plane number 2 is called the plane of prana or chi, the life force, the pranic plane. Plane number 3 is called the astral plane, astral energy, astral beings, astral universes. Plane number 4 is the plane of the mental energies of the universe. Plane number 5 is the causal worlds. I know now I'm just saying words, and you might say, well, I don't really understand what he's saying. You don't need to understand what I'm saying. This is just for your subconscious mind. I'm just throwing some seeds over there simply to get you to get the idea. We are going from gross to subtle. What the subtle planes are about, maybe we'll do a webinar one day and explain each one separately. But for now, you just have to understand things go from physical to energy to astral to mental to causal, and then 6 and 7 are even more subtle than number 5. So gross to subtle. And again, I'm reminding you, this X shape is just a symbol. The universe may not be looking like an X shape. The yogis consider that the X shape is the most, it shows the qualities of the universe the most perfect. So they represented it like this. Also, these 7 planes, they are not like a sandwich like this. It's a symbol. The 7 planes commingle with each other and they exist simultaneously everywhere you are in the same space at the same time. Here where I sit, all the 7 planes coexist together. Wherever you are and wherever you go, all 7 planes coexist together at different frequencies, from gross to subtle frequencies. Just like you can have in the same room different frequencies of energy. You can have your TV broadcast frequencies, you can have radio frequencies, FM, short wave frequencies, long wave frequencies, satellite frequencies, mobile frequencies, all in the same room. Not to mention, even in the radio frequencies, you have CNN, which is on a certain broadcasting frequency. You have BBC on another. So many channels. They all exist in the same space at the same time, right? Exactly like this, all the planes of the universe coexist together at the same time. Now, this big egg shape here has been called the macrocosm. The word cosm is from Latin, it means cosmos. Macro is big. Macrocosm is the big universe, the big cosmos. That's what it represents there, the big egg shape. And the other one next to it, this one here, is the microcosm. And the microcosm means the microcosm, the mini universe. The universe in a nutshell. And the principle of correspondence tells us, and the yogis and the other mystics tell us, as the universe is, so is the microcosm. And what is the microcosm? The microcosm is the human being. It's you and me. The small X shape is a symbol of the human being. And if you look at them, you see, except for size, and that's obvious, right? Except for the size, in terms of the blueprint, in terms of the matrix, the human being and the universe are identical. And whatever you find in the universe, you'll find having its correspondence in the human being. And whatever you have in the human being, you'll find it has its correspondence in the universe. I'll give you a few examples. As a human being, all of us have certain degrees of intelligence. Some people are much more intelligent, like Albert Einstein, for example. Others, not so much, but still, there's some intelligence in everyone, right? Even if there's the least amount of intelligence in me, where does that intelligence come from? If there's intelligence here, then there's intelligence out there in the universe. If there's intelligence in the microcosm, then there's intelligence in the macrocosm. The difference is, as smart as I may be, or you may be, my little intelligence is like a puny little droplet of the cosmic intelligence, of the macrocosmic intelligence. Exactly like you'd compare the size of my body to the size of the universe. If in the human being there is an ability to love, can you love? Okay, you say, I can love. Well, if you can love, if there's love here, there's love out there. And the love in the universe, the universal love, is so much more pure, universal, cosmic and perfect to my pathetic little ability to love. If it's here, it's going to be there. And it's like you compare the heat of my body with the heat of the sun. My love versus the universal love. If there is consciousness here and the human being can be conscious and ask a self-reflective question such as, who am I? Who am I? So you can have consciousness. If you can be conscious, then there's universal consciousness. As below, so above. As above, so below. We looked at it one way. Let's look at it the other way. Whatever isn't there in the universe has its correspondence in the human being. So for example, out there in the universe, you have a sun. Let's just say the sun from our solar system, the sun. If there's a sun out there, there's a sun in here. Now I know some very rational people, left brain hemisphere, logical people will say, what nonsense is this? There's a sun out there. There's a sun in me. Where's my sun? Show me my sun. Like, and if there is, I don't know, gravity out there, there's gravity in me. Where's my gravity? Makes no sense, right? Sounds like some poetic mumbo jumbo, some new age nonsense. It's not. The reason people think like this is because, and it's not an accusation, I'm just bringing to the awareness, is because we live in a materialistic world with a materialistic education and a materialistic existence, and we chase after flesh and matter, and what is solid, what can be perceived by the senses exists. And everything else which is unknown to the senses, most people don't know it exists. And some arrogant people even say nothing exists but what you see, feel, hear, taste, smell, and that's it. But look again over here. Look again. All your senses only function in plane number one. They can only perceive things from plane number one, and that too minuscule. How much can your senses perceive of this grand, vast physical universe? Not even that much, right? But what about plane number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7? Your senses, your physical senses cannot perceive any of those. How do you perceive those? By opening up the so-called sixth sense, by opening up the third eye of Shiva, by opening up your Ajna chakra. It is from there one perceives the subtle planes. Your five senses work only for plane number one, and just if you push a bit more, you can perceive some things in plane number two. Everything else goes from here, you see? So if there's a sun out there, there's a sun in you. But where is your sun? You might look for it like you look for your elbow or your kneecap, because we are used to being materialistic. But those correspondences don't belong to plane number one exclusively. They belong to plane number 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. You see a physical sun, but the physical sun has certain qualities of energy. For example, the physical sun is giving fire, heat, light, and a fiery energy to our solar system, which we benefit from, right? Is there not something in you that generates and maintains your body heat, that generates and maintains your digestive fire, that generates, maintains your fire in terms of personality, like that, and a shining in your eyes? There are some people who you meet and you notice immediately, this person, my God, they're like a fireball. They're like very strong personality and very fiery. Where does that fire of personality, fire of emotions, fire of mind come from? Other people, some other people, they are like a bit cold fish, you know, like very subdued. And you say, this person doesn't have much fire in their personality, right? Yoga says your digestive fire, the heat of your body, the fire or the lack of it of your personality, your mind, all of it comes from the functioning of your inner sun. And if you have too much heat in the body or too little heat in the body, too much digestive fire, too little digestive fire, too much personality fire or too little personality fire, They tell us it's because of a malfunctioning of your inner sun. Then what do? Via the methods of yoga, you reharmonize the functioning of your inner sun. And here comes a key point. You bring your inner sun, your microcosmic sun, in correct harmony and attuning with the macrocosmic sun. Because the mini sun in the human being and the big sun out there, they are made to communicate with each other. They affect each other. And of course, the sun out there doesn't really get so much affected by your mini sun, but your mini sun is drawing its heat, its power from the big sun out there. And by plugging those two together, by plugging in your mini sun to the energy of the big sun out there, you will download the beneficial energies of the sun from the source into your being. That's already a yoga. It's already a union. At the level of your mini sun. Your mini sun can be disconnected from its source, and then it's malfunctioning, which will result in physical problems and going up to emotional, psychological issues resulting from the malfunctioning of your mini sun. But if you tune your mini sun to its source, it starts to work perfectly, and everything in that department of your being goes correctly. So, just like this example of the sun, everything else you have in the universe has its correspondence in the human being, and everything you have here has its correspondence in the universe. Or everything, the good, the bad, and the ugly, all of it. The universe is like a huge broadcasting station that broadcasts all kinds of energies that you can imagine, that you can't imagine, that you know, that most of which you don't know. I'm using an analogy now. Think of the universe as a huge broadcasting station that broadcasts 7 main channels, and those 7 main channels are gigantic. The sub-channels on each of those 7 main channels are incomprehensible. Just think how much exists only in plane number 1, the physical universe. Plane number 3, 4, 5, 6 are even larger. No? So there's a lot going on there. But just imagine, as keeping the analogy, the universe is broadcasting, broadcasting, broadcasting. You and I, the microcosm, we are the radio system. The little individual radios that pick up a broadcast. Which brings us to the following. You see, in our education and our pride and our ego, it makes us think we are the source of everything. If I'm intelligent, I say, oh, I am so intelligent. If I can love, I say, oh, I'm so loving. If I have any musical talent, then I say, see, I composed and played this music. I, me. The principle of correspondence comes with a big hammer and smashes this very erroneous and blind idea that anything belongs to you. Nothing belongs to you. Nothing belongs to me either. Think about it. Even this body doesn't belong to you. It is borrowed and it will go back to the elements someday. This little pinky of yours is not yours even, because it's not going to stay with you forever and ever. You see? What about the rest of it? Do you realize that everything you have in your life comes from the outside? It's borrowed from the out. Oh, you say, yeah, this is my phone. Okay, you bought it. But you didn't make it, like you didn't and you create it. It's still coming from the outside for you to use, even if you bought it. It comes from the universe to you, right? The food you eat comes from out for you to sustain this body. The air you breathe is given by the universe. The liquids you drink is given by the universe. Everything, people, everything you have in your life is given by the universe to you. So what is yours, really? And everything will be taken away. It's not going to last. You cannot cling to your money. You cannot cling to your home. You cannot cling to your family. You cannot cling to your parrot. You cannot cling to your, nothing. It's all going to go. But we live in this illusion, this false idea that this is mine, and this belongs to me, and that belongs to me. What's even worse than that, in terms of delusion, is people think the qualities they have come from them. The principle of correspondence smashes this delusion and says, nothing comes from you, nothing. Everything that comes from you, through you, comes from the universe. I know there are many questions that come at this time, but I'll answer them. Just be present with what I'm saying here. Yes? The mystics tell us, let me give you an analogy. The human being is like a flute. The universe is the musician. Does the flute make the music, or does the musician make the music and the flute simply expresses the music that comes from the musician? Right? The microcosm is a flute. The universe is the musician. But depending on the quality of the flute, there will be either music, harmonies, melodies, and beautiful music, or cacophony of unpleasant sound. People say, well, you know what this guy said? He said, nothing comes from me, it all comes from the universe. Well, you know what? I am an angry asshole. I'm a violent, so-and-so. And then someone says, hey, what are you doing? How can you behave like this? And then the person answers, don't tell me. Talk to Muktananda. He said the universe is acting through me. So why you blame me? Right? Like kind of the responsibility goes upon the universe. I can be a shithead and I blame the universe because the universe is acting. That's the musician, right? No? Very false idea. Because the question is, why does the universe blow through Albert Einstein, Mahatma Gandhi, Joan of Arc, El Cid, Swami Shivananda, Jesus Christ, Milarepa, and Buddha one way? And why does the universe blow through Jack the Ripper in another way? Do you think the universe is saying, you know what? You, Albert Einstein, I like you, so I'm going to come through you as intelligence and scientific genius and whatnot, and ethics and morals. You, Jack, I don't like you, so I'm going to come through you as an asshole. Do you think the universe has some kind of the universal intelligence thinks like this? Absolutely not. Why does the universe, through Johann Sebastian Bach, make music of that kind? And why does the same universe, through Britney Spears, makes music of that kind? It's because of the quality of the instrument. If the flute is very well made, very well tuned, very good wood, clean, beautiful music comes. But if the flute is made out of bad quality wood, not very well made, plus it has cracks in it, not to mention in the flute there's mud stuck in it, what music? You're going to get a big cacophony of sound, very unpleasant sounds, right? Even if the master musician starts to play, it's going to be rubbish sound because the instrument is not tuned nicely, is not pure. In your relationship with the universe flows through you in the way you are tuned up to the universe. In which way are you related to the universe? If you are impure, the universal impurities flow through you. If you have anger, the universal anger flows through you. If you have love, the universal love flows through you, which means what is channeled through you depends on you, and therefore the responsibility is not there, it's here. I have to refine this instrument, I have to purify this instrument, I have to enhance this instrument. So how does this tie in with yoga? Because that's exactly what yoga is about. Yoga is about polishing this instrument and putting it in, and this will bring us to the next principle, putting it in a harmonious resonance or a tuning with its corresponding levels in the universe. I'm reminding you, the universe is broadcasting all energies. Let's say there's so many people on a planet who starve because they feel unloved. They don't love themselves. They feel no one loves them. But the energy of love, universal love, is all around. It's everywhere. Why do most people not feel it? I'll answer you. If in your home right now you have a radio and your radio is off, you have BBC and CNN and the other, emissions around you. Why do you not hear them? You'll say, because my radio is off. I'll say, turn it on. You still don't hear it. Why? Because you don't tune. You don't tune to that broadcast, correct? You have to tune your radio to the broadcast, and then you get the reception. Love, intelligence, willpower, self-confidence, courage, memory, vitality, energy of health, of healing, and so much more is all around. It's all around. You have people are starving of self-confidence, starving of love, starving of willpower, starving of intelligence. It's all around. Tons of it. Why don't they have it? It's because their radio is not tuned. That's why they don't have it. And this is what yoga is doing. Yoga, via its various practices, is tuning the microcosm with the beneficial, superior, sophisticated, refined, and spiritual energies of the universe, thus refining, spiritualizing, purifying the human being. That's what yoga is actually doing. This thing with stretching and whatnot, those are auxiliary things. That yoga works on your hatha yoga, let's say. Hatha yoga works on your physical body and you get a good stretch and this and that. That's auxiliary. But that's become what most people are focused upon these days. The tradition of yoga is thinking of a completely different thing. And that is microcosm, macrocosm, the law of correspondence. Via doing the yoga practice, you are attuning to the universe and calling forth, downloading from the universe some very special energies which will bring in you some very special beneficial qualities. And thus you evolve. You evolve towards happiness, the true happiness, the eternal and unconditioned happiness. You evolve towards love, peace, contentment, freedom. This is what yoga is doing. Coming next to the principle of resonance. What is resonance? Resonance is a word that's used in technology. I've borrowed it from technology because that's exactly what yoga is. You could replace the word yoga with the word resonance. Let me explain. You see over here, you have these two tuning forks. Tuning fork A vibrates with a certain frequency. I have two colors, two pens with the same color. Yeah. Tuning fork A vibrates with a certain frequency, and tuning fork B, coming into close proximity of tuning fork A, catches the vibration and starts vibrating. As it says, it begins resonating with sympathetic vibrations. In the world of technology, the word resonance is defined like this: the transfer of vibrations from one system, it's called the mother system, that vibrates. The transfer of vibrations from a mother system to a daughter system, which is not vibrating, but put into proximity, it catches the vibrations. The transfer of vibrations from one system to another is called resonance. You'd say this system has entered into resonance with this system. The daughter system has entered resonance with the mother system. Yes, one condition though. Both those two systems, whether it's tuning forks or whatever it might be, they have to have the same frequency of vibration. If you have one tuning fork which vibrates at 10 hertz and another one could be anything except 10 hertz, 11 hertz, 9 hertz, 8 hertz, 110 hertz, it will not catch the vibration. because they don't have the same frequency of resonance. But if they do have the same frequency, it will catch. That's what the two tuning forks there are showing you. Read here what Albert Einstein said. He says, everything is energy. Everything in this universe is energy. That's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality that you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not a philosophy. This is physics, he says. He stumbled upon something, the principle of resonance, from physics, as others did. But the yogis have known this way before Albert Einstein, and they say it's not just physics and it's not just yoga. Everything in the universe is working by the principle of resonance. Everything. Your life, where you're born, to which parents you're born, what is your situation in life, what you have in your life, what you don't have, for the good or for the worse. Everything is a result of your predominant resonance. Your mind, your aura, your chakras are constantly vibrating with certain frequencies of energy. And your external reality is simply an outcome of those frequencies of resonance. We often tend to live in a way where we think the world out there is coming to us. Sometimes in a nice way, sometimes in an unpleasant way, right? It's completely the opposite. We are creating our world. We just don't know how we do it because we do it unconsciously. We don't know how we are resonating, with which frequencies we are resonating, and how those frequencies of resonance, of energy, of mind, manifest our three-dimensional reality. This is where yoga comes in again. And yoga says, we are going to make what is right now unconscious, conscious. We are going to make a deliberate resonance with the beneficial energies of the universe. Consciously deciding what energies you want to resonate with, thereby determining your three-dimensional reality. Everything will change. The people you like, the people you hang out with, your friend circle will change when your resonance changes. If your resonance gets more and more refined, more and more pure, more and more harmonious, more and more divine, then you will come in contact with people and circumstances of the similar kind. If your resonance is of a pig, you'll be in contact with pigs, the pig part of humanity. So it's not just yoga. Your whole life, my dear friends, everything in your life is a result of your resonance. Wouldn't it be important then to examine one's own resonance? You say, how do I do it? Look at your life. Look at your life properly. Whatever you have going on around you and outside of you is a reflection of what you are. Bottom line, that's what it is. You say, well, I would like to do better. Welcome to yoga. So what does yoga do? Yoga, every method in yoga, again, asanas, pranayamas, mudras, bandhas, mantras, yantras, you name it, everything in yoga. What it does is, I'm going to give it as an example with these. The energy of universal love is all around me, all around me, all around me. All the time it's there, overwhelmingly present. But here I am going, love, love me do, begging for love. Love me tender, love me dear. No? Why do you think these stupid songs make such hits? Because everyone is dying for love, begging for love. But love is in abundance all around you. But I don't catch it. Why don't I catch it? Because the energy of love is vibrating at a certain very high, refined frequency, and my frequency of resonance is that of a pig. I don't catch it. I'm just going to say some arbitrary numbers now. Love is vibrating at 1008 hertz. Don't take this literally, yes? I'm just throwing some numbers just for the sake of example. Love is vibrating. The energy of love all around is vibrating from the cosmic, from the universe. It's all around 1008 hertz. My vibration is 10 hertz. I'm not catching nothing. What if, and this is what yoga does, your methods in yoga, when you do them, let's say you make the yoga of working on your heart chakra and awakening love. What it does is the yoga practice, now I'm going to make a shift here. The yoga practice alters your resonance for the time you do the practice. Now I'm speaking about love, just love. And puts you in the resonance, it alters your frequency of vibration to match the energies of love. And now what happens? You catch it. For the time you do that yoga practice, you're now streaming, downloading cosmic love. And you're learning how it feels. You're becoming aware of what's happening in your mind, the changes in your mind. You're becoming aware of the state of consciousness that comes when you are in resonance with cosmic love, and therefore you are learning love. Love can be learned. Love can be trained. Intelligence can be learned. Intelligence can be trained. Self-confidence can be learned. It can be trained by plugging in to the universe. Every single method we have in yoga is to transform your predominant resonance to a certain frequency to match one of the elevated, sophisticated frequencies of the universe, be that love, be that confidence, be that intelligence, be it whatever. And thus you download that energy into your being. That's why when you finish a yoga session done traditionally, not this gymnastic thing in which you just focus on the stretching and nothing else. There's no yoga there. Yoga means union. When you finish a yoga session done traditionally like this, you have accumulated and assimilated energies from the universe, and you feel more vital, more energized. You feel that if you want it, your sexual vitality and sexual energy is strong. You feel your self-confidence, willpower, courage, and boldness is strong. You feel your ability to love and be compassionate and kind is amplified. You feel your sense of beauty, aesthetics, creativity amplified. You feel more pure. You feel your concentration and the powers of your mind opening up, and you feel more conscious and more aware. I just went through some of the effects of working on the chakras, by the way. That's why you must have seen my hand do this. You go through a yoga session and you have attuned your chakras to the Maha chakras, the great chakras of the universe, and thus you have downloaded in yourself, into your chakras, into your aura, and thus influencing your body, your emotions, and your mind with beneficial, cosmic, macrocosmic energies and divine aspects. This is evolution in yoga. So you see, yoga is not just stretching. It's something that happens at a much deeper level and more profound. Now, how does this resonance actually work? How does yoga put you in resonance with those beneficial energies of the universe? For that, we come to this slide, and that is the following. Keeping with the analogy, the universe is a broadcasting station, the 7 planes with all the energies in it, and you are the radio that receives those energies. And I told you, depending on how you're tuned to the universe, guess what? What's the tuning button? In this radio, how does this radio tune to the universe? The tuning button is the mind. It is via your mind you create all the resonances in your life. As it says there, whatever you focus your mind on, again and again and again, will become your reality. Albert Einstein said the same thing. The yogis say the same thing, and your life reflects it. Your mind is the tuning button, guys, and therefore, there is no yoga without the correct concentration of the mind. You know what Patanjali says when it comes to practicing an asana? Not just asana. We're not talking about pranayamas and other things. He says, when practicing an asana, I'll just say some part of it, not the whole thing. He says, your mind should focus upon the universe. That's what he says. Your mind should not be focusing on your physical body, like, oh, I'm stretching in how's my toes, how's my hamstrings, how's my back. No, that's not the traditional yoga. Patanjali says an asana is sthir sukham asanam. Sthir is steady, not moving. Sukham is comfortable. Sthir sukham asanam. That which is steady and comfortable is an asana. Then he says, next line, he says, so comfortable that you forget about the body. He says you lose body consciousness and your mind focuses upon the universe. The microcosm is now expansion of consciousness into the macrocosm. So comfortable that you forget about the physical body. You lose consciousness about the physical body and your mind coincides with the universe. See? The mind is very important. I told you that because I wanted to show you that traditionally, but it's not just Patanjali, the texts before Patanjali say the same thing. Mind has to be focused. Because if your mind is not focused, it's like a radio whose tuning button is not focused. I tune my radio to BBC. And then when I release my fingers, like in the slide over here, the tuning button dances around by itself. I will not catch any reception. My radio will not tune to BBC because my tuning button is misbehaving. How is your tuning button behaving? If I tell you, okay, everyone close your eyes and let us make half an hour, 30 minutes concentration on your third eye just here. Just focus on a point in the middle of your forehead, 30 minutes non-stop. Tell your tuning button to focus here. You know what's going to happen, right? Tick, tick, one, tick, tick, two. Your tuning button is gone. It's changed frequencies already. It's thinking about the grandma or your relationship or your money or your dog or who you're going to tell what you're going to tell them later. This is what happened. The mind, for most people, is weak. That's why we are unable to make like instant change. I don't mean instant like in the moment right there, but quick change, quick transformation. Takes long, long, long. Why? Because this monkey mind is not focused. Everything we do in yoga is bringing your monkey mind in your control. So that when you say, now monkey mind, you're not a monkey anymore. You will act as my instrument to generate the right resonances with the macrocosm, with the universe. The mind makes everything. And therefore it says, wherever, that's what your reality is about. Whatever you have been thinking persistently, again and again, conscious or subconscious, is manifesting at you as your reality. Change your mind, change your reality. That's why in yoga, we are always using the mind. Without the mind, it's not yoga. It is the mind that makes the union. It is the mind that makes the resonance. Your mind is not with you. Your mind is all over the place. You are not in yoga anymore. That's also why when one is practicing traditional yoga, your mind develops a lot. Starting with its ability to focus like a laser and be concentrated, which will have repercussions and positive effects in every aspect of your life. Imagine your work, your business, your money thing. If compared to now, where the mind is all over the place, if you focus like a laser, how much better will everything get? Imagine your relationships when you can be focused upon the person. In everything, you have a sport, a hobby, something, and you can be like a laser focused upon it. Starting with that, going all the way to training your tuning button to tune to the beneficial energies of the universe, which right now it cannot. If I tell you right now, tune your mind to the energies of cosmic love, do it. Sure. 6 months of yoga, serious yoga, you can do it. You're sitting there and feeling, yeah, I feel okay. Boom, tune. I'm telling you right now, tune your mind to cosmic intelligence. Double up your intelligence right now. Sure, how? Make the yoga practices 6 months and more, and you will gain the ability to do exactly this. You will teach your mind how to make direct connection, union via the resonance with the beneficial energies of the universe. Remember, in yoga, yoga is always only and exclusively creating beneficial resonances with the universe. Because you know what? Is there anger in a human being? Yeah. If there's anger here, there's anger there, cosmic anger. If there's fear here, there's fear there, cosmic fear. If there's violence here, there's violence there as an energy. The universe has it all, people, the good, bad, and ugly. The great, everything is there. You will never find a yoga method that says, do this method and get yourself in resonance with cosmic anger or cosmic hate or cosmic fear. No, quite the opposite. We have been doing a yoga with those pathetic energies and aspects unconsciously all our life. Maybe before even, if there are any previous lives. We have been doing yoga unconsciously. And the yoga system is saying, okay, your mind is resonating with fear. Can you now, right now, double up fear in you right now? Sure you can. All you have to do is think a certain thought and you get fear. Can you make, so in this moment, you don't feel anger. Can you make anger? Of course you can. Your mind has learned how to go into fear, stress, worry, anxiety, depression, anger, shame, guilt, and the lot of it like this. What does it take for you to get from 0 to 100% anger? One trigger, boom, you're there. What does it take for you to go into cosmic love like this? You get my point? Our minds are attuned out of a terrible education, lifestyle, modeling of the world and whatnot into the shit. And the yoga comes and says, time to correct it. Time to disconnect, tune off from anger, jealousy, hate, fear, and all that stuff, stress, worry, anxiety, and to tune your mind where you want it to be. That will bring about once again that evolution into peace, happiness, love, freedom, contentment, which is what you're looking for in your life, through everything, through relationships, through the family, through money, through buying this and selling this. That's what you're looking for, right? So you can enhance your whole life and you can enhance your whole being. You can enhance your body, your energy, your emotional content and resonance. You can enhance your mind and your consciousness via the yoga practice. To sum it up in the last minute, yoga means union. The union between the microcosm and the macrocosm. The universe is a big mother, a big shopping mall. And anything you want is available in the universe for you, if you just know how to tune into it. That tuning in is done via the yoga practices and focusing the mind. And when you are tuned to the beneficial, with the right resonances to the beneficial energies of the universe, you evolve in those particular directions to health, peace, harmony, and divine consciousness. Enough of it. This completes the webinar for today. Thank you all for listening. Namaste to all of you, and see you next time around. Next time, we plan to hold a webinar on what are the pillars of tantric sexuality. So I hope you'll be present and see you then. Namaste.